Fancy remix, page 444.
Welcome back to take 444, more psychedelic records for your enjoyment. Just an update from my last video. This is the Dantalians reissue, Dantalians Chariot Rising, that has just come out on Gerson. I didn't have it in time for that video, but I now have it. That's the hype sticker. Well worth picking up, if only for Madmen Running Through the Fields, which is one of the top 10 UK psych tracks in my opinion. Absolutely brilliant record. And I think I went on about that enough last time. So we're still in the D's. By the way, the cover for that is not as good as the one on Wawa, I think. A bit of a disappointment. It's a good photo, but and the back photo is quite good, but it's just it could have been better, I think. Anyway, the Gerson usually do a great job. So still in the D's, starting with the Dead Sea Fruit. Not something that's seen very often. Came out on Camp Records, of which I know nothing about. There we go. Came out in '67. This is a bit of an odd one, as a lot of psych is. So this is very London '67. It's very Bonzo's. Bonzo Dog Band, if you know them. Bonzo Dog Doodah Band, as they were at one point. Appeared in Magical Mystery Tour. Everybody knows Vivian Stanshall, that sort of thing. Anyway, it's very much of that ilk. A bit vaudevillian, but it's quite good in places. Very little psych in it, I guess, but it sort of has the sound of '67 London, swinging London, that sort of thing. But it has gone on Discogs, people paying up to 200 quid for it. I think I paid, well, this says 35p on the sticker there. I think I got it for a bit more than that, but it was probably 80p or something in a charity shop a few years ago. It's a bit of a battered copy, but it's not worth paying a lot for, but it's worth picking up if you have an interest in that sort of thing. They were big in France, appeared on French TV a lot. They only made one album and then they disappeared. Playing in the background at the moment is Dr. Marigold's Prescription, Pictures of Life. This came out on the Cheapo Marble Arch label in 1970, I believe. Let me just check my notes. Yeah, 1970. So this is kind of a pop psych, middle of the road a little bit, but it's got some good psych touches to it. But it's quite sort of pop psych harmony stuff. The sleeve really doesn't really quite go with it, but it's interesting. It's worth picking up, and you used to be able to see this all over the place in England, in charity shops and the like. Always very cheap. Marble Arch was a real cheap label, and yeah, and it was everywhere in the 80s and 90s, but more difficult to find now. But it's worth picking up if you can. Next up is Simon Dupree and the Big Sound. So this is the album called Without Reservations. This is a mono copy on Parlophone. So this came out in 1967, as you would expect from their groovy dress sense. They were a soul band who moved with the times, and they had a big hit with Kites, which is not on this. It's a pop, mid 60s pop album with touches of psych. The best thing that Simon Dupree and the Big Sound ever did was change their name to The Moles in 1967 and did a one-off single. I'm not entirely sure the story behind that, but they did a one-off single that is here on Parlophone. We Are the Moles Part 1 and We Are the Moles Part 2. And it, well, Part 1 especially, is a psychedelic classic. It was a bit of a hit. It was on the British Psychedelic Trip album back in the 90s, 80s, 90s. And it's just fantastic. Rumours at the time were that it was the Fab Four, but obviously it wasn't. The Moles disappeared after that one single, and Simon Dupree disappeared, and they became Gentle Giant, more of which later, their famous prog band.
We are the moles and we stay in our hole. Hiding our faces, revealing our souls. And though the world is blind, we can see, we can see. The world will lose its mind trying to uncover you and me.
And the album, it's worth picking up, but I wouldn't pay a huge amount for it. It's, like I say, it's pop psych. Alan Freeman doing the liner notes there. So it's worth hearing. Next up is an album by a Norwegian band called Dog Age. I don't think I've ever seen that shown in the VC. The obscure stuff called came out on Voice of Wonder Records in 1989. It's Revolver period Beatles, and it's pretty good. Definitely worth hearing. If you can find a cheap copy, I wouldn't pay a huge amount for it, but I quite like it. I liked it at the time. Like I say, very revolverish. English lyrics and worth hearing. Band from the 80s and 90s are the Dead Flowers, and this is their album Altered State Circus. That's the back cover. So they were a festival band, played a lot with the Osricks. I saw them a couple of times. This is their inner liner notes. On Delirium Records, that's the Delirium advert on the back with the Mushroom Man, and adverts for Porcupine Tree and such like. Good label, Delirium. Did a lot of good stuff back in the day. I shall probably highlight them in one video one time. Yeah, so this is 80s, 90s space rock, very Osricks. And there's nothing wrong with that. Good stuff. Next up, shooting through them, is the Druids of Stonehenge and Creation. Pretty well-known record. In the States, it wasn't issued in the UK. On the fabulous Uni label, this is a reissue, as I say. It wasn't issued in the UK, and I wouldn't pay up a huge amount for it. But there we go. It's garage psych punk. Quite a few covers on it. They do I Put a Spell on You. They do Love's Sign DC, and It's All Over Now, Baby Blue by Bob Dylan. 1968, I think it was. This is a reissue on Sundays. That's the. Last but not least is the fabulous DR Hooker. Not Dr. Hooker and not Dr. Hook. This is DR Hooker and The Truth. This is a reissue. Obviously, don't have an original of this. I think there are about 100, maybe 200 made from 1972. Extremely rare and very sought after. I think originals go for about $4,000. I wouldn't pay that sort of money for anything. It's an interesting. I've heard it called Jesus Crooner Psych. It's an interesting record. So he released 2 albums, this one and another one that was I haven't heard, that came out on cassette, I think only, 72, this one. When it's good, it's fantastic, but there's quite a lot of crooner, lounge, sort of psych, lounge music on it, which I don't care for a great deal, in the same way that Damon's album has got. But this is, when he hits it right, this is fantastic. Well, I'll put a couple of clips so you can hear what it is. But yeah, absolutely brilliant. Came out on records. This is my reissue with the reproduction label. Like I say, it's this needs a clean. This is a fantastic record. In places, pick it up if you can. It's pretty well known in psych circles. Now it's a 180 gram reissue, and it's really good. Very weird in places. That looks really good, doesn't it, with the oil wheel on there? Yeah. So that's all for this installment. I'll get back to you soon and have some more records to go through. See you soon. Bye bye.